You are live. Remember that when you call your meeting, state the meeting if you would please, just for simplicity.
Yeah. I'm going to call this meeting of the Public Health and Safety Standing Committee meeting of July 23rd to order. And let's start with the minutes from June 25th. Does everybody have a chance to read those over? I think I was the only one that didn't grab them. Hearing nothing against them, so they pass. And then, did everybody have a chance to read Jody's meeting minutes from the last July 9th meeting? Doug, did you see those from last night?
Yep.
Okay, and I thought they were fine too.
Okay.
So our meeting minutes are fine.
Okay.
Up for action tonight is the staffing, and we did a slight revision on it. I'm going to read it through one time to make sure that we're all on the same page. A resolution of the City of Red Lodge ratify, I think that should say to ratify and approve the contract between the City of, no, this is school resource officer.
I'm like, what?
Oh, I had it in there, so let me put that there. Here it is.
Surely.
New revised, okay. Let's start again. A resolution of the City of Red Lodge to maintain a minimum staff of 7 sworn police officers to ensure continued police coverage 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Whereas a minimum of 7 police officers affords the population of Red Lodge and the 5-mile district surrounding Red Lodge a sufficient police force to ensure 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week coverage. And whereas the population of the City of Red Lodge and the 5-mile district surrounding Red Lodge is growing, which has increased the calls for service. And whereas it is essential for the city to continue 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week coverage to protect the health, welfare, safety, and property of the citizens of Red Lodge. Now therefore be it resolved, the City of Red Lodge shall maintain a minimum staff of 7 police officers to ensure 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week coverage. The City of Red Lodge hereby authorizes the mayor to fund a minimum staff of 7 sworn police officers to ensure 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week coverage. Passed and approved, blah, blah, blah.
No question.
Yeah.
The therefore authorizes does directs fit in there?
No.
Pardon?
It says the City of Red Lodge hereby authorizes the mayor to fund.
He wants to know if we should use direct.
Directs rather than authorize.
I have no problem.
And is it the city or is it council, and it's not the City of Red Lodge, the council directs the mayor to fund?
Yeah, it should be the council. Because we're doing this to direct the mayor to fund it. I mean, he always has the authority to fund it regardless.
Well, I have
We're
the
saying-
authority to present it in the
Yeah,
budget. You have the
right.
authority to approve or disapprove.
Right.
What you're
So-
saying is we will approve it.
So how about the city council of the City of Red Lodge hereby directs the mayor to fund a minimum staff of 7, blah, blah, blah. Does that sound better?
Sounds like in line with what the objectives were.
So the city council of the City of Red Lodge hereby directs the mayor.
I don't know that you need of the City of Red Lodge, but I don't care one way or the other.
I'm gonna leave it in.
Why say something in 2 words when you can take 12, huh?
That's right, it's a legal document, right?
I think lawyers
I should have made
take
it
a
even
class
more.
on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
So if everybody's okay with that, I'll make the changes and make sure everybody at city council has a copy of it.
Or
Yeah,
at this point, just make
Yeah.
your notes and make a motion to amend,
Yeah, we just
because this is what the public has.
Okay.
yeah. And we're voting, if we weren't voting on it tonight, it'd be different, but we're voting on it tonight, so.
Okay, got it?
So you're gonna go ahead and amend that, Sandy?
Yeah. Oh, okay, and we know that Chief Schrock is not available today, he's in training. So, he said that his email to us said that he was going to have one of his officers give us some, information. Should I see that?
Yes, he did. He said he'd forward it to the mayor as soon as he had it, on an update on how the weekend went. Have you heard
And
anything?
I have not, I asked for that, but,
Okay.
and I will follow up with him because I do wanna be able, to do that. From reports, it was fairly low-key. I
Okay.
do have a question because on Friday night, they had a little smash, barbecue. I'm gonna step out and take this. And there was like 30 different officers here, and I wanna understand, cause my understanding is that's not coming from our budget, but I wanna understand where it does come from.
He wants to make sure we're not paying for that.
Right.
What he's saying. Maybe they just wanted to be here because it's fun.
There you go.
Yeah, this is what was a happening place. Why would you be somewhere else, right?
Well, I know, the county was busy with Bridger Days and us, and then they had the fire, so.
Where was the fire?
East of Belfry,
Oh,
between Highway 310 and 72. And it blew up to almost 300 acres, like really quickly. It was a lightning strike on Saturday.
I wondered what it was.
Mhm.
Yeah, so they called out, you know, all available fire departments, but,
What were your feelings? You feel it was up a little bit?
you know, I thought it was pretty low key, you know,
Yeah.
as far
Well,
as,
getting older, so.
yeah, I know, they're all like old. But I was really surprised Sunday, a lot of people spent an extra night. They, you know, most of the bikers pulled out Monday morning, usually they pull out Sunday.
Yeah.
And so I think that was good. We went downtown Sunday night for dinner and it was packed downtown. There were
Part of that,
tourists and bikers and
Yeah.
everything.
part of that is the, property management that requires a 3-night minimum
Oh,
instead of a 2-night minimum. So some come in on Thursday and some
Oh.
come in on Friday and stay till Monday.
gotcha. And, I had lots of tourists in too, you know, and the same last year. I know there have been years where the rally's been really big and they, you know, businesses have said it's driven off our regular tourists, but I didn't notice that this year at all. I had lots of regular tourists, you know, just going to the park that weren't,
Weren't part of the rally.
no, and they were just like, oh, it's at a rally, you know, and they walk up and down and look at the bikes and stuff. So I didn't really, you know,
Well, middle of the day, they're out doing their,
yeah,
The
there-
rides
that
over
always
there,
kind of
yeah.
calms down and, yeah, and they do that deliberately. They have the 2 poker runs, so that they're,
Keep them busy.
keep them busy, something to do, yeah.
I know Grizzly Peaks was down, business was down.
Was it at the golf course?
Well, I mean, the downtown store.
Oh, the downtown store,
Yeah.
yeah.
Saturday was, he said, pretty what you would expect, but
Yeah.
Sunday it dropped off, he said.
Yeah,
Don't know
I thought
why.
it was really busy, Monday through Thursday. We had a lot of tourists in town. Prior to the rally, I was really surprised at how packed the
Yeah,
town
yeah.
yeah.
appeared.
Yeah, it just, you know, I mean, it, you know, I didn't have the buying where they would have me ship it. You know, in past years, I've always had like, you know, 4 or 5 of them come in and I ship stuff out Monday and I didn't have any of that this time. So it was kind of more if they couldn't fit it, they didn't buy it.
Right.
right.
You know, so,
That's traditionally, it's a busy, people-wise, it's a busy weekend.
yeah. Right.
Business-wise,
Not so much.
it's one of the lower weekends.
Yeah, restaurant
in
and
Summer season.
Restaurant and taverns, it's probably one of their
Yeah.
busiest weekends.
Yeah.
And the grocery store, I'm sure too,
Well,
gets it with the camping
and
out
housing.
Sure,
there.
what happens is the residents of the community pick this last weekend as an opportunity to go somewhere else.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah,
And so we lose their business,
yeah,
but we gain the bike rally business, but in the end, it's still one of our lower weeks of the summer.
of the summer, yeah.
Because it's just, we sell lots of barbecue stuff and beer,
Yeah,
but the center of the store is pretty untouched.
Not
Right.
so much.
yeah, and and where like the Fourth of July weekend, we're usually all the locals stick around for that,
Yeah.
so that's
And I think they'll stick around this weekend too for the
for the car show.
for the
Yeah.
car show.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just a rally is,
Yeah,
you know, what it is, and they come in and have fun for 3 days, and as long as the businesses do very well, the restaurants, hotels,
yeah,
Yeah,
and the
and
vacation
that's-
rentals, yeah, all the lodging.
so it's,
And I've
I'm
heard,
not complaining, I think it's,
I've heard over and over again, a lot of the people that attend the rally come back later.
They
Right.
do. Yeah,
So-
they, and a lot of them, I heard that from so
We
many
get a
of
lot
them,
of
that they
people.
love, you know, I've never been here, I love the town, you know, so I think there were a lot of new people this year.
Yeah,
That just,
it seemed like Thursday, and it may be because of the way the bookings go, but Thursday seemed to be busier on the bike end than I remember Thursdays being.
yeah, we were one of the poker stops, and it was busy. It was like really.
anybody
we had a
hear
lot of people.
how the concert went? Whether they had a good attendance or not?
I haven't, really.
I didn't venture to town, I was home in the evening.
Yeah, I haven't had a
We
chance
went
to
out
talk
Friday
to
night.
anybody.
Friday night, we sat at the Chinese restaurant just to watch the show. But I was rather amazed at how many campers or stuff going, you know, heading
Yeah.
south
Mhm.
through the middle of that. And they were the ones that were going like 3 miles an hour so they can get their bike fixed, looking at all the bikes. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, gosh. And
Yeah.
I did call the mayor on Friday. Friday morning, I had a chiropractor appointment, and I noticed that over by Bone Daddy's, between 8th and 9th, there was a pedestrian sign on 9th, but nothing on 8th, and there were people waiting, and they'd step out, nobody would stop for them. I mean, nobody. So I called him and said, we need another one of those signs. He goes, well, I don't know if we have one, and I said, well, take it from 13th Street, 'cause that's fine,
Yeah,
you know, and when I came back from my appointment, there it was, so that was really good, because
Yeah.
they were still jaywalking, but you slowed them down on both ends.
yeah, there's a lot of that. Right through there, it's so busy and
Yeah.
congested, you know, where they're signing up for the poker run and stuff like that, so.
Well,
A lot of
vendors.
I jaywalked because locals are the worst offenders at jaywalking, because I don't really wanna walk another half a block and around. I'm like, my car's right there.
Why would we?
I'll stop for you at the corner, but I won't.
And I don't ever expect anybody to stop
I
for me
I
when I'm
stop
jaywalking.
anywhere. I stop anywhere,
Yes.
it looks like somebody wants to cross the street, so, yeah, so
Yeah.
that was, I think it went well. I'd like to see the numbers, but it
Yeah,
does sound like it went well.
I don't think we
There
had any
wasn't-
horrible accidents either, like we.
There wasn't any, bad accidents. I talked to my son-in-law, who's part of the ambulance service.
Yeah, I think they had one bike wreck.
There was one bike wreck, but it wasn't serious.
Got it.
Oh, good, and it wasn't on the path?
Yeah,
I
yeah, it was
didn't-
on the path.
I didn't, pursue the,
Location.
fine details, it was just,
Yeah, it was up by Vista Point.
Well, I'm glad that we
But-
didn't lose anybody because of that.
I know, and I think, you know, that's always, you know, everyone's wish and goal with the weekend is everybody, you know, makes it through it.
mhm.
Yeah, because we're always a little concerned, because they're showing off for each other.
Well, a lot of times you get people, on bikes that,
But don't
Okay.
ride them often enough either.
to ride the Beartooth Highway, yeah, let's just say their skill set isn't
It's
necessarily.
a little lower,
Yeah. You-
like they're from Pennsylvania, where there isn't one hill, or
Totally.
Iowa,
No.
Nebraska.
Things happen, but yeah, it just,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I
Okay.
wanted to get an update from somebody on the school resource officer. Anybody hear anything?
The mayor will be back here soon,
Okay.
too. So,
And I wanted to find out whether or not they considered that four-way stop at Hauser and Oaks. Well, we're really rushing through these.
yeah, well, hopefully
U-
he'll be back here.
U-turns on Broadway, everybody saw that they're illegal on Broadway.
Yeah,
They're legal everywhere else as long as you use your blinker.
right. So, yeah, we received a letter, from a citizen who was crossing in a crosswalk and almost got hit by someone doing a U-turn on Oaks Hauser. And I always get confused where it becomes,
Well, it says, yeah, the county,
And, it was by the county admin building, right
And
there.
Ace Hardware.
And Ace Hardware,
Mhm.
is where she was trying to cross, and someone did a U-turn right there and almost hit her.
It's a four-way stop.
Isn't that a four-way stop
It is
there?
a four-way stop, but, what she wanted to know if U-turns should be, you know, we have them on Broadway, they're illegal because of the amount of traffic we have. So, and Hauser has become a second Main Street, especially, I mean, the high-traffic area there.
Yeah,
It's-
it always has been.
It always has been. I mean, and it's only getting worse. This summer especially because Platte is all tore up, you know. So do we want to consider, making Hauser Oaks a no U-turn street as well, I guess is the question, because of the high traffic? And, that's not necessarily safe to,
Is it a epidemic of U-turns or just one incident that, I mean,
oh, people do them all the time. They want a parking spot on the other side of the street, so they split the UE right there and, you know.
I don't
I
think,
don't know that it'll necessarily stop that unless you put no U-turn signs up.
let me read you the letter. It says, on Wednesday, as my daughter and I were in the crosswalk between County Building and Ace Hardware, I felt this unusual presence. As I continued walking and looked up, I saw a large silver pickup trying to execute a U-turn. I was immediately upset because I have just been in a head-on collision, and fear of receiving further injury frightened me. I felt the need to hurry, but could not do so due to my injuries. Luckily, nothing bad happened, but it's preposterous to think that anyone would even consider such a maneuver in a busy downtown area, no less with people in the crosswalk. I've seen others executing U-turns in town, and there's always some type of problem with them trying to do so. Is it possible for signs to be put up banning U-turns in the city limits?
I don't think you can do it, I wouldn't want to do it all in the city limits. I mean, people, you know, that's a little excessive, and I think it would be completely unenforceable.
Well, I think this is the exception to the rule. The
That-
fact that she's just had an accident, she's
Yeah.
mentally on edge, and she took that and making an
Right.
issue out of it. I don't think, it's necessary.
I honestly, I mean, I've done them myself, and I just make sure it's clear. Now I'll make sure I use my blinker.
Yeah.
That'll help.
Yeah, you know, having the shack out there, and you've got your little garage out there, the amount of people, I mean, they speed, they drive all over the road, they flip U-turns all the time. I think to me, it's more just, do we, just kind of, I don't know if there's some type of traffic study we can do on Hauser Oaks. I mean, I'd like to really get the chief's input on this. You know, honestly, there's a lot of times, it's not safe to do U-turns on Hauser with the amount of traffic that's there. But I've also seen them do it in the middle of Broadway
Mhm.
as
I've
well,
seen them do
when
it in
it's
the
totally
middle of
packed.
Broadway.
So,
But I don't see a problem as long as they do it properly.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
Broadway, we passed the law on Broadway from 8th to, I think, 14th because of the traffic, you know, it's just not a safe,
The amount of people
But
walking, traffic.
do.
It's
Yeah.
not posted,
it isn't posted.
so,
So, I mean, I think if you pass a law, you need to post it so people know they're going, especially when it's a city ordinance and not a state law.
right.
Yeah.
You know, if,
Does the city have jurisdiction over the state highway?
we do when it's within the city limits of Rutledge. Like, if people are speeding down Main Street, we can give them the ticket,
Right.
you know, and we do also, you know, we have ordinance on how much, you know, the snow shoveling on the sidewalks that are the states, where businesses can put their sandwich boards and their, you know, clothing racks and stuff like that, or their little tables outside. So we do have that authority. But I do think that we should, have signage up if we expect people to follow it. It's really hard to
Right.
give someone a ticket when there's no sign saying that.
Well, again, I get back to it, I don't think this is an epidemic.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
I don't think we have,
think it's very unfortunate. They were in the crosswalk. I thought that was rather a rude place. They could have waited till people were out of the crosswalk.
We're going around the block.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
Like,
or go around the block, or, you know,
people
go.
are,
Well, it depends on the mirrors on the truck. My big truck, I've almost hit a pedestrian once or twice because they end up being right in my blind spot,
Yep,
and they step out in front of me just as I'm getting ready to go.
yep,
I didn't even realize they were there because
yeah,
there was a blind spot in the truck.
yeah, there's definitely, yeah, those,
I'm very aware of it now, but I had a couple of scary moments. It's just where they were standing,
yeah,
they were.
Not
they were
visible.
concealed from
right,
behind the mirror.
Well, I've done that even on Broadway where I don't see pedestrians because there's a truck parked there and you've got four corners to check, especially this time of the year. So you're busy, you see someone kind of standing over here, so you concentrate here, and next thing you know, somebody's crossing over there.
I know,
And it's like, okay, you know, it's just really difficult in this town to not hit pedestrians and crosswalks.
Someone had commented on the painting of the pedestrian area on the street where it would encourage them to step farther out.
yeah,
So they're more visible,
Yes,
because it is hard going down Main Street especially. Until you're maybe a car length from
yeah,
them,
you don't know,
you don't see them, and then all of a sudden they're coming out.
yeah.
So if they stepped out that much further,
And peek around,
they would be more visible.
yeah, Dave was talking about that. It's just like one of the things that's on the growth policy or downtown, one of those two, to
mhm,
discuss with planning board is bump outs,
right,
which I personally don't like, to have a big old curb sticking out into the intersection, but I think that the painting of it would be great. The question is whether pedestrians would understand what that is. We have an
Yeah.
arrow, stand here.
Yeah.
Yeah, stand here to cross.
Pedestrians, you know.
yeah, I mean, I like the bump outs because I think they would really increase the safety of crossing in our downtown, and it would help slow down traffic going downtown. You know, they would be where the yellow is now, so you're not supposed to park there anyway. I worry, about just having it painted because people, when they're turning right, tend to get over, and they would just run over the painted area, whereas a bump out, they wouldn't. You know, they'd actually stay in their lane.
Snow plowing would be a nightmare.
Snow plowing.
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
a hard one.
it is, I know,
You look at the corners now.
yeah, I know,
And they're way
they would
back.
have to,
Yeah, they're all tore up, so.
yeah, no, have you seen them plow those? I mean, they don't even try to miss them. I've watched the city, I'm like, I think they hit them on purpose, I'm like,
To the edge.
yeah.
They're just
No, they
trying-
run right over the top of them. I'm like, you know that's there, right? You just ran over the sidewalk. It's part of the sidewalk. They're running over the sidewalk is what they're doing. They're cutting the corners, so. And then they bury what I've just shoveled, going out on the corner. I have two corners that I have to shovel out onto Broadway.
Have
And
you
they
been-
totally put like 3-foot berms in there, and I'm out there like with my ice pick again.
Have you been up to the golf course?
Yeah, I used to live
People
up there.
will shovel their driveways all nice and neat, and the city will come through
I
and put
know.
a 4-foot
I
berm
know.
right in front of their driveway.
I had that happen so many times when I lived up there.
Yeah, that's kind of
And
common.
they do it also when you've shoveled your sidewalk too, and
Mhm.
your place where you park, and so we shovel the whole thing.
It's a traditional battle.
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
It's not
I mean,
going
there's certain
anywhere.
things you're just not gonna,
It's gonna be what it is.
Yep.
yep.
Did you guys get the email this morning from Pete Critelli?
I did, I didn't get a chance to read it. He was talking about some grants.
He was saying, let's see.
He was coming back.
It's, Sandy, Jody, Dave. I still receive these opportunities, which are grant services, coffee, chat, today at 10:30. While some may or may not apply to Red Lodge, all opportunities should be explored. I recommend one of you take the initiative to avail our department of any applicable possibilities. Please do not pass it along to someone else or continually talk about it at meetings to the point that opportunities expire. Just do it yourselves, one of you anyway. And it says, hi, Deputy Sheriff Pete Critelli, good morning. Please see the reminder below for the virtual coffee chat happening today at 10:30. Enhancing public safety funding through effective grant strategies. It's today, join the meeting, and I think I will join the meeting. I don't know if you guys,
Who's hosting it?
Lexipol,
Harry Schneider,
Account Executive Grants Platform of Lexipol.
Lexipol.
I'm sorry, I don't know who that is.
That's because we're not into the
Law enforcement.
policing.
Hmm.
It's a free, no obligation event designed to provide valuable insights into how partnering with Lexipol can bring substantial benefits to your community. Whether you're actively searching for grants or just curious about the possibilities, this chat will serve as a great resource.
Yeah, I think it's a company that,
Well, if you've got time to go, it certainly can't hurt.
It's a virtual thing, so.
yeah, that would be great. July and 10:30 is not a good time for me. So,
Okay.
maybe one day when I don't have a store downtown, and
When's that?
I don't know.
Wah, wah, wah. Anyway, so
When I'm semi-retired, right now I'm not.
I go back to wah, wah, wah.
You still need funding, so
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
that's why I still have one downtown.
Yep. Yep.
So I will go ahead and at least listen to that. I know that,
Okay.
especially the police, there's so many grants out there. We're talking about school resource
Yeah.
officer.
Absolutely.
I'd love to get, a policeman or the other, get another detective, get a detective. Even if it's only for a year, some of those
Yeah.
grants, they'll fund it for a year, and then the second year, only 50%, that type
Right,
of thing.
right.
And, see what we can do. And I was kind of surprised when the chief said that their vests actually expire, that they're only good for a length of time.
Yeah.
I think it's 7 years, 5 to 7 years.
Yeah,
Heat and body oils, things like that, break down the material in the vest.
Wow, sure didn't know that.
So a vest that's being actively used has a shelf life of 5 to 7 years.
and that's really amazing. So that's actually a disposable item that
Yeah.
are probably not cheap, and they definitely need. He also says that they have an armor plate or something that he's using with the vest.
Right, yeah, I remember saying that.
Yeah.
Those, I think, have a longer shelf life.
Yeah, they're a different material,
Gotta be heavy.
so. Yeah, they're, you put on a few pounds when you, wear one of those.
Yeah, usually it's a utility belt that you can't sit in a chair with arms anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, we have the four-way stop and painting on
Well, I
that
looked at that.
one, on that Hauser.
On the post office
Yeah.
has a curb and it is painted.
Right, it's the other side that's not.
Both of those sides of Hauser are curb and painted. It's that in front of, Flying S Title and Babcock and Miles, they don't even have a curb.
Mhm.
So they're gonna park wherever, there isn't a curb to guide them, so I don't know what you can paint.
I thought,
You may have to put up signposts just to
yeah,
say
no
no
parking
from
here to
here
corner,
to,
yeah, here to
like
corner,
on Main Street.
yeah.
I think a
exactly.
four-way stop would be
That
probably,
would,
Yeah, I think though you need to put on there, no parking. It is actually a law that you cannot park so many feet by the edge.
is it 10 feet, 15 feet?
I don't know.
But, you're not supposed to ever park.
Ever,
Right,
I know.
even if it's not marked,
On a corner,
yeah,
yeah.
on a corner like that. So
And
they could
not
get,
like on the corner, although I've seen that in this town.
oh, yeah. Well, I've seen them there especially, they'll block the sidewalk, parking there. And you're not supposed to do that either.
Ever, anywhere.
So, I don't know if we can get a sign up, no parking here to corner. That would help a little bit too.
you could also see it in the wintertime.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, as soon as the snow covers everything, everybody's back parking to the corner.
Mhm.
They're parking wherever there isn't snow.
So what
Yeah.
brought this to the attention?
It,
I did the last meeting.
Ron did, it's an
Just,
ongoing issue.
It's a very dangerous intersection, the way the cars are parked. There's no visibility when you're pulling out from the parking lot.
Okay,
When you're pulling out from the post office side to re-enter either Hauser Oaks Hauser or to cross to go to Broadway, you're just basically
Yeah.
hoping nobody's coming when you go, because
Yeah,
the
especially
visibility is very,
on the left-hand side when you're pulling out of the parking, because those people are parked way up to the corner too, and you can't, the way that intersection is angled, you can't see if anyone's coming
Okay.
from the
I
left.
mean,
You
when you
mentioned,
go to the post office and you're sitting there at Babcock and Miles, you can't see to the right at all.
Yeah,
okay, is that because what you mentioned, there's no sidewalks, so people just park right all the way up to the street?
Yeah,
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's the issue then.
yeah.
Yeah, and well, and it's just the amount of traffic at that intersection, we really need a four-way stop there.
It's the volume of traffic
But if
that's
you have
really
a-
driving it.
A four-way stop, how's that gonna stop people from doing more, parking the way they are right now?
It won't, but you can go. I mean,
It'll
you
be
won't be
slow.
pulling out, waiting you'll have an opportunity. Everyone goes to the post office, they all have to pull out there. And right now, it's very dangerous to cross that street,
Yeah.
either to get to the post office or to pull out from the post office.
I'm just trying to think which would be more beneficial, the no parking from here
Both.
to the corner, or the four-way stop?
Four-way stop or both.
The four-way stop would probably be the best. It stops the traffic on Hauser,
So you take turns to
so
pull
you
out.
take turns to pull out. I think that would solve the issue. You could park to the curb to your heart's content if you,
Even though it's illegal.
yeah, even though it's illegal. But at least you've got people, and if you start to take off and somebody's over there, you're only rolling, you know, it's easy.
Well, and a
to-
lot of people walk to get the mail, so there's a lot of pedestrian
Sure.
traffic there too. So, and if people are blocking the sidewalk because they're parking all the way to the corner, then you've got people having to walk out into the street
Yeah.
to get around them. So I really think it'd be nice to have both.
And there's a great big hole by, we'll call it the southeast corner, in front of Flying
Yeah.
S Title. I don't know if you
Yeah.
ever noticed, there's a,
It
I
is,
guess
yeah.
the drain or whatever,
The
there's a big hole, it's like the street's here and there's a hole
I think
here.
it's the drain, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they've built up the street over and over again so that
Yeah.
there's quite a level in
Right.
that. So, you know, I just think that the four-way stop would be more, would solve the issue. I think, saying no, you know, no parking and all that is a
Well, I'll-
good start. But-
I'll see if this is something, that we need to, ask Public Works to take up. You know,
Should we bring it
if
up
we have,
tonight
well, I don't know if we need to write, yeah, we could.
as part of the report?
Yeah, if you wanna have a brief discussion, get council input on it, and then maybe we, ask Public Works to,
Look into it or something?
or, you know, do we need to pass a resolution saying we want this? And then that would direct the mayor to direct Mike to do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
keep it clean, yeah.
So if we need to write a resolution stating that we want a four-way stop and signs put up, no parking here to corner, at that intersection as a safety.
So what's
We will.
the benefit of it writing a resolution as opposed to just authorizing Public Works to do it?
Because if council writes a resolution, that's our way of directing the mayor to do something,
Mm,
and then the mayor directs Public Works to do it. So that's the clean way of doing it, because we can't tell Public Works what to do.
no, but I mean, if the council approves a motion to have a sign, have Public.
We may be able to just do that as well, so,
I guess I'm not big on all these whereases.
I know.
You and me both.
The whole point of the message gets lost to me. because-
Right.
It's like, Mr. Mayor, would you please do this?
Yeah,
Let's
Right, and we could, you know,
simplify.
There you go.
we could do a show of hands, and if he wants a resolution, we'll write a resolution, or he can just do it. So, he seems to like the more formal approach as well.
And I wrote here that the U-turns on Broadway were from 8th to 14th, or actually 8th to 15th.
8 to 15, okay.
So, I just looked at that.
Yeah, and I guess I would like to get, the chief's input on that at our next meeting when he's back, just on Hauser. It's not as busy as Broadway, but it's pretty dang close. So, it's basically the second Main Street in Red Lodge. There's a lot of commercial all up and down there, so,
Well, on all four of those corners,
yeah,
technically.
yeah.
But I think you're right, it's the busiest corner in Red Lodge.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
really is. and you've got kids walking home,
Yeah.
you know, and all of that. So you're always worried about the bicycles and kids talking to each other, not paying attention.
Right.
Right, yeah, they use
There's
that.
a lot of danger on that corner. I don't know if we've ever had any accidents on that corner.
Yeah,
Probably,
oh, yeah.
to say the least.
He's not going to my shop.
If you go into your shop, is it time to run out?
No.
The only
He's not
other
using
thing we
that
had
early.
is the public outreach, and haven't heard anything more on that.
Just that we are working on the survey and, oh, I'm sorry, I was thinking of the resort tax. Never mind.
Resort tax.
Was-
Yeah.
Um,
Is there what are you're working on?
well, the resort tax is going to redo the survey. We're working on the questions and the rollout and stuff like that. So, you know, I don't know.
Good.
Let's see. And we've also been discussing, the budget and priorities for resort tax spending. We have a lot of asks, mainly if we get the grant, for the streets, the city's gonna have to match $735,000. And like half of that is coming from our gas tax, but the other half will probably come from
Urban
resort,
gutter?
from resort tax, so, for streets, so.
Wonder what the deadline is on that, or do they just,
They've already submitted it.
no, I know we submit it, but what's their deadline to,
Oh, to let us know. I'm not sure. I haven't asked that
I mean,
question.
don't you think a grant should have
But it
some
would be this next year. So this next grant funding, I mean, this next resort
Cycle.
tax cycle in our budget, yeah, we would,
they have to allow for that in
Right.
case.
right.
And that only takes care of phase one.
Yeah, all of that over there. It's a huge grant and it'll redo all the streets over
There.
where phase one happened. Yeah. where
Last
they're
year,
all
there
tore
was
up.
400,000 in the gas tax.
They saved that and
They saved,
that's what they're gonna use for the match, is the gas tax. And then, but the match is like $735,000, so another, 300 and some thousand will have to come out of resort tax.
so the
Extra.
match is 125,000?
No, the match is $735,000, because it's a multi-million-dollar grant,
735.
if I remember right, yeah, so.
Oh,
Yeah, but we'll have brand-new streets where we
for
didn't have them.
735,000, yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly, it's huge, because there's not a lot of money out there for streets. And there is been a big push from citizens to spend more of the resort tax on our streets, because that, that,
Because we're tired of it.
well, there's no other place we can get the money for it. Those type of grants don't come around.
And is that
So-
because of the infrastructure bill that went through Congress?
It's an ADA grant or something like that. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, so, I don't know all the specifics of it, it's just that, yeah, it's an ADA grant. And I know they're also working on trying to investigate the Safe Schools program and getting sidewalks in where we don't have sidewalks for there.
so who's looking at that?
Public Works
Okay.
Committee, yeah.
It's
So-
nice to have a curb and gutter on Platte and paved,
Yeah,
just because it is our overflow parking for the
Everything.
downtown area for 10 weeks of the year.
yeah, it is. Although Platte's been very quiet this year.
Yeah, for some reason.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I know our alleys have been very active. People are using
Jody,
alleys.
could you summarize that again, that grant and
It's
the city resort tax fitting into it?
well, we can spend, resort tax on our streets.
Okay.
That's legitimate, passed, in our ordinance and passed by the
Right.
public, that we can use that.
Right,
We, the city has applied for, I think it's an ADA grant, I could be wrong. It's multi-million-dollar grant, and they don't come along very often. And it will redo all of the streets over there where they did phase one,
okay,
which is huge, because it's, multi-million-dollar.
right,
And, we also get gas tax money based on the number of miles of streets that we have in
Right.
town. This last year, we received over $400,000 in gas tax money.
Mm.
So the city saved that money, just pigeonholed it to use as a match if we get this grant.
Okay,
But the grant match is going to be over $700,000, and the gas tax is like $400,000.
okay,
Get
So we
gas
would
tax again
use-
this year.
The $300,000, the rest of the match would come
From
from the
resort
resort tax,
tax.
because it will be used on streets.
okay, so when does, we know about the grant, whether it's,
I
That's
haven't,
what we were saying.
I'm not sure, I've heard it's any time now, they're expecting.
There's a
it to.
deadline to apply, but apparently there isn't a deadline to tell people that they got it or not.
I don't know, there
But
probably
don't we
is.
get gas tax every year?
We do, but last year, for some reason, we got a big amount, and normally we get like $70,000.
so
Oh,
if we do
so-
not get a grant, what do we do with the 400,000?
They'll go back in and fix streets like they have
It's
been.
for street sidewalks, alleys.
Yeah, they've been paving alleys with it.
Yeah, so,
Yes,
so
they've been
Public Works
paving
will
alleys
determine.
with it.
Right, they have to use it up on one project.
Ah,
They can't just spread it around,
I think it
so.
also expires if it's not used within a certain length.
Right, and so as soon as they know, then they can say, we're using it as a match.
Well, then maybe that money.
Do you know when the money, when that grant,
the
when we'll
grant-
know if we get the street
The
grant?
grant for curb and gutter for phase one?
I do not know what our date is.
And we'll get it, the
Are you
notification.
talking about the 40 million that's tied to the,
Phase one of the stormwater?
The
Well-
ADA grant, yeah. For the streets over there.
It
you're
was
saying
applied.
ADA?
What was it? What was the grant
No,
for?
it's a street grade, and it was
But-
related to
Accessibility.
what? I don't remember it as accessibility, I thought I remembered
When-
it being tied to
When they
flood.
asked me to write the letter, they wanted me to talk about accessibility of pedestrians being able to access businesses because
Oh, I remember
of
that.
sidewalks and streets. And
Lack of.
especially handicapped people,
Lack of.
like,
And I remember it being, how did the flood impact your business? But we might be talking about
You're
two
talking about the
different things,
FEMA. Oh, no, you're right, the flood. There was
It was-
something about flood,
yeah, it was
impacting
both,
business.
but it was,
Do you know anything
The-
about this,
the-
Brian?
About accessibility to.
No,
No,
this is
about
a
the
grant that we
grant.
had for the roads. Well, let's put that down as a question for Mike and get some clarification.
yeah, like on, when
And
we're
then
gonna
the
find
question is,
out.
when is the date?
When are we gonna find out
The
if we get
award
it or not?
date.
Because you were talking about tying the gas tax.
And the resort
match
tax.
to this.
We were just talking about that we were gonna do the survey again in the resort tax. We're working on that. The resort tax committee is working on doing the survey.
Okay.
And I just kind of branched off and said, you know, that there's a lot of asks of resort taxes next year, possibly, if we get that grant.
And I know there was a concern raised, I know there was a concern raised about the match coming out of resort tax, because I don't think that conversation, it can't, my understanding from Lonnie, so let's validate my understanding is accurate, is that it cannot, it can occur directly from resort tax, but it
Right.
can't go like resort tax general, boom, or resort, it doesn't go transition another fund.
Right,
You just pay it directly from resort tax.
yeah, absolutely,
And
yeah,
I think there was some confusion or question about that.
yeah, no. I,
That was just what I heard.
so I was just curious, we were just curious when we would know if we got the grant or not.
Which is why they
Okay.
saved the 400,000 gas tax from last year in anticipation of this grant.
And that's what I understood as well, but Tom had heard, or based on, that they had heard that they thought it was coming from resort tax, and I said, no, my understanding is it was the gas tax.
But it is, but they need $735,000, and we have $400,000 in gas tax, so they're gonna need over $300,000 in resort tax for the additional match.
The conversation is still going on, but I can find out when the award date is.
And I guess we can kind of worry about it too if we get it.
I'd love to have that problem.
I know, me too.
so our roads are gonna get a bump one way or the other, either with the
Hopefully.
grant or the 400,000.
Well, so we always have the gas tax money, and that used to be about 50,000 or 40 to 50,000 a year.
I think one year we got 70 or 80.
And then a couple of years ago, they made a change, and it's changed significantly. And that's where they had been paving like one alley a year, sort of a thing, to kind of deal with it. It's not in and of itself significant enough to make a difference.
Right.
The other problems we were having on roads was, it makes 0 sense to spend money on a road that you know you have plans to tear up within the next
Right.
Sure.
year or two or three, and that's
Sure.
part of the reason we're getting the stormwater and stuff, and that ties back to Jody's conversation of, we're getting the stuff done underneath so that should the opportunity hit us, or the availability, or the
Right.
money, or windfall, or whatever, we have the ability to start doing.
We'll be ready.
Yeah. So, and also, we're just done here, did the school resource officer, have you had any more?
No additional,
Okay.
process has been made that I am aware of.
Okay.
But having said that, it is still completely on track,
Okay,
For
There's a-
75%?
75%. That
Okay.
was made clear in the first negotiation, and they said understood.
okay.
They said understood.
And
Okay.
then,
The paper isn't done, but that is the verbal
The
agreement
agreement.
of what the paper needs to look like.
okay. And then the other thing we talked about was, the four-way stop and maybe putting signs up, no parking here to corner on that intersection by the post office and Babcock and Miles.
So, Mike has had added to his list to make an evaluation of current signs and where new signs are. That's separate from the ordinance. Did you guys, remind me which one this is, which one you guys,
The four-way stop.
At
which
the
meeting are
post
we-
office.
which?
Public health and safety.
Okay, so is that the one where the ordinance is about government agencies can request?
No,
Is that gonna be?
No, that's an admin. No, this
Okay.
is, people are parking right up to the corner at that intersection.
Yeah, so
It's
that was part of the same conversation.
busy
with
and
the yellow
dangerous,
curves.
yeah, yellow curbs, but there's not curbs there.
To paint.
So maybe we would just put up, no parking here to corner sign
Or,
instead.
I wonder if you could do those concrete barriers.
Well, it's cheaper to put up a four-way stop than it is to do concrete barriers or curb and gutter.
But the four-way stop doesn't take care of the no parking from here.
We don't
other
care if
than-
they park there, now
Well,
they're
we
stopped.
do because they're blocking the sidewalk.
Yeah,
They're,
but they're stopped. For safety concern, the four-way stop would solve it, for safety.
but we-
Well, so that decision is the Public Works Director.
Okay,
Let me back, I don't know that doesn't mean that council couldn't direct over that, but
That's-
what we need is a status update because that information has been relayed on.
okay,
So, including specifically the Babcock and Miles corner.
yeah, the post office corner.
when
But-
Babcock and Miles leveled the dentist office and rebuilt, were they or were they not required to put in a sidewalk?
There is a sidewalk there. There's just no curb.
There's curbs, there's a complete sidewalk.
I do not know what the
Sidewalk.
decision.
I think that the planning board did require the sidewalk going in, and I think there was anyway from before.
Yeah, no, the sidewalk's
The
still there.
problem is no curb and gutter. And you can't paint.
You can paint dirt, it just won't last.
Or it's not dirt, it's just flat level blacktop, is that,
It's kinda not flat,
It's gravel.
it's,
it is?
Road mix.
Okay.
yeah. And I think it's on both sides of that corner of
Yeah,
Babcock and
but
Miles.
it's also on the other side where there is curbs. The people park right up to the corner when you're pulling out of the
Okay.
post office.
So
you
the
can't
record, the record of decision review is a new request, so I'll have to add that to the list.
Yeah, we'd
see. Yeah,
like to do something
As-
at that corner, something.
yeah, what we discussed was, you know, rather than put in curbs and gutters necessarily, but at least put up a sign that says no parking here to corner. So people know
Yeah.
they can't park right up and block the sidewalk. I mean, they should know that
And
anyway,
I
but,
do not have a status back from Mike, but that was relayed
Okay.
on.
and then a four-way stop there would be extremely helpful. I think it's long overdue.
It's really close to the schools, the kids walk there, you can't see.
I heard the mayor even ran a stop sign there once.
What?
Like I said, it's a very, very dangerous corner. What time do you go to the post office?
I'll make sure I won't go that time.
Well, having listened to everything about this, I think that it would be appropriate to have both signs. Stop, four-way stop, and the no parking from here to the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because of all the reasons mentioned,
And if you-
volume, safety, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and if you need council to write a resolution, you can.
And I,
or whether we.
so my concern, so like I said, what I need to do is what I need to do is have him come tell us what his findings are and what he's thought and what the timeline is. And if he doesn't want to do that, here's his logic why. So.
Yeah.
I
think
just,
I
we've
made that.
struggled a
I'll
lot.
translate it from my 2x2 over to my notes in a minute.
Okay,
Did
yeah.
you ever
It's-
hear back on how the rally went police-wise?
I have not received that, but it has been requested. I'm trying to get it before tonight. So,
Okay.
so that request was in his box yesterday morning, but he's out for training, and so
I
we're
knew
trying to
it
get
was
that happen.
Okay.
Anecdotally, I'm only aware of one issue I heard about that was, two bikes with lights in trail going down Broadway at not 20 miles an hour.
Lights and trailer,
Pardon?
with trailer?
Lights in trail,
What
meaning
is-
he was being followed by cop cars with their lights on.
Oh.
Oh.
They were
I was
followed
like,
by-
what, he's trailing lights
No.
behind his?
Sorry. And I got some feedback, that was not viewed as positive up at the parking area, where they have, 36 of their own security folks that are there, that it seemed like it was multiple cops in the circuit driving through every 3 or 4 minutes, and they were stopping and taking pictures and some things that were some questions and some concerns. But I know we had an awful lot of officers here,
We did.
and I'm curious to understand, because I don't remember that we have that budgeted per se, so I don't know if all those, you may know, do different organizations like volunteer to help, or did they all just want an excuse to come to Red Lodge, and they said, I'll come and wear a uniform because they'll give me an excuse to hang around in Red Lodge, and they're just doing that off the clock, or?
I'm not sure what, they haven't had that many officers,
Ever.
paid officers.
Yeah, and I don't, I need to understand that, and that's part of the email that I
Did-
sent Mike yesterday morning. or-
Highway
or-
Patrol sometimes will bring in their drunk tank, you know,
They
the processing,
did,
their DUI
and we had
processing.
adult probation and parole, we had Forest Service, so pretty much every
We had somebody, that I
Every
don't even know. It
law
wasn't
agency that was,
Fish, Wildlife and Parks?
yeah, so every law agency within 50 miles had a presence here.
There was
Which is
one,
normal.
And,
yeah,
but why? Just because the law agencies just help each other out, or?
That and the increased activity, it becomes a hot
concentrated.
Well,
enforcement.
honestly, what happens is because Bridger Days is going on, the county has stated in the past that they cannot necessarily
Do both.
back up the city with the rally.
But we had.
Because they're also busy with
But we
bikes
had, we
in the
had several
county.
county here folks too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw
okay.
a county.
So it's like I said,
Yeah. I just am going by
at
past
the
years,
thank
what
you
they've said.
hamburger dinner, there were easily 30 folks there in uniform.
Oh,
I suspect a lot of those may have been here directed by their agencies versus actually actively participating in Red Lodge's activity, you know.
Maybe. You need to wrap up so we can get the next meeting.
Okay. Any other public comments from anyone? For public health and safety?
any other concerns? Okay, well, we're done.
You look at the little button in front of you?